Hi, it's Brian Bennett, author of Explicit Leadership and founder of Multiply Leaders, a resourcing and coaching organization that is passionate about helping leaders unlock their potential in the name of Jesus. And I just want to talk to you for a moment about being all in as a leader. I remember the first time that I jumped off a high dive, and if you're like me, just terrified of heights. And so every step I took up this enormous ladder was a step of courage all the way to the top. And after what seemed like forever, I finally had the courage to jump off this high dive. And I think as I think about leadership, I think leadership requires that level of courage that many times every step is a level of courage. And then we finally get to some of these moments in our leadership where we're tested. Will we climb back down or will we jump? Will we trust God enough? Will we have the faith enough? Will we lean in to what God is doing and believe in who Christ is and who God has made us to be and is remaking us to be in Jesus? Will we lean into our calling enough to jump? Will we trust God enough to jump? See, God's given you a calling. He's called you to join his mission, and you're leading in some capacity. That's why you're watching this video. And I just want to encourage you to be all in, to reflect, am I all in? Because if you're like me, there's seasons of your leadership where you are all in. You're giving it everything that you have. You're not holding anything back. You're not worried about how you look, or you're not worried about what people will think if something fails. But then there's moments because of the pressures and the challenges, the discouragements, our insecurities, we lose center, we lose our anchor, and we are afraid. So we start buffering, right? We're afraid that God won't come through. We're afraid that we're going to look like fools if whatever we're leading doesn't happen, if that vision that we're rallying others toward and leading others toward doesn't happen. And so we start to hold some of our chips back. And it's easy. It's easy when you're on mission as a leader with God's mission to start holding back some chips because for a lot of times that mission, it comes hard. It doesn't always come easy. It's messy. It's deep work. It's slow work so many times. But I want to encourage you to be all in. And here's a couple signs that you're all in. The first one is this, is that you're leading with courage. We already talked about, do you have the courage to jump with what God has called you to do? With the vision that is in your heart, when you slow down and when you think about that vision that fires you up, that gives you energy, that motivates you, that might even bring tears to your eyes when you think about it long enough because it changes something in the world. God is calling you to do something, some act of justice, some act of mercy, some act of leading others into a relationship with Him. He's called you to some aspect of His mission. And then when you slow down and you think about it, man, it fires you up, but it takes great courage. Are you leading with courage? Here's a second sign that you're all in, is that you're willing to make the big ask of others. You're willing to make the big ask of those around you for the sake of the mission, and that's what's key. Not for the sake of your own name, not for self-promotion, but you're all in because you're willing to ask others to join in and get their hands dirty. You're all in because you're willing to make the big ask of others because you believe in the outcome. And it's not about you. It's not about elevating yourself or magnifying your name. It's about believing that God has called you to do what you are doing. And it's about believing that that end result, that the fullness, the fruitfulness of what God has called you to do, it's worth the sacrifice along the way. So you're healthy in a healthy way. You're calling others to sacrifice and to give and to be all in towards that mission. And here's the third thing is that you're leading with conviction and you're leading with confidence. When we're all in, when we are confident that God has called us to where we are to do what we believe that He has called us to do, we lead with a depth of conviction. It doesn't mean we're overbearing. It doesn't mean we're rude. It doesn't mean we're angry people, but we lead with a strength, a fortitude of conviction, with life and energy inside of us in the midst of the struggles and the challenges that is inspiring and it helps others stay centered and stay focused on what God has called us to do and who God has called us to be. So are you leading with conviction? And the second part is when we believe that God has called us to do what we're doing and we believe that God is with us and for us and His hand is on us, not just us personally, but us as a team, us as a community, then we're leading with confidence. And there's a big difference between confidence and pride. There's a humble inner confidence that comes from knowing who Jesus is, knowing who you are in relationship to Him, and knowing what He has called you to do, and that you are being obedient and active in what He has called you to do. Man, God has laid a beautiful calling on your life. Are you all in with Him?